Good morning, Leominster. Now, this doesn't look like the Leominster Access TV studios, and that's because we're about a month into the COVID-19 response, and we're still practicing social distancing. So I'm coming to you from my house, just me filming this, so we're going to see how this goes, and we're going to try a little bit of technology to be able to share some resources. I just really wanted to check in, to say hello, and to really make sure that you knew what resources were out there for all things coronavirus. If you need any help, I really wanted to check in. So for those of you who haven't seen Representing Leominster before, I'm your state representative, Natalie Higgins, and Isabella and I are working from home, but we're working really hard to make sure that you have everything that you need in responding to all of your emails and calls with all of the issues that you're having. I have some slides prepared to help walk through some of the issues that we're seeing the most of, and we'll get started with those. And this is where we're going to check and see if the technology is going to work, because I'm all on my own. And I'm filming this on Friday morning, Friday the 10th. And the original plan was to have you all join me, and we were going to film my Access TV show from Facebook Live so that I could do these slides. But we had a little trouble with Zoom and Facebook Live working together last night. So I was able to do my Facebook Live, but no one got to see these beautiful slides. So we're going to try a second time and hope that this works. So you're getting a little glimpse into what I've looked like for the last month with my headset and attending all my meetings on my computer. I've got my tea, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to spend the next 30 minutes with you just talking about some resources that exist, and know that resources are popping up from the local government, state government, federal government daily. And so if you're seeing a gap, if you're seeing a need that's not being addressed, please reach out to me. And so the ways that you can get in touch with me, I'll say it over and over again throughout this show. Email is best, natalie.higgins@mahouse.gov, and phone works just as well, 978-227-5278. Thanks to technology, Isabel and I have always had our voicemails emailed over to us so that we know when we get them. And so we will get back in touch with you if phone is better than email. And if you want to stay on top of issues happening and resources that are happening, Mass 211 has now been dedicated for referrals regarding COVID-19. Operators are staffing this 24/7. They can translate into multiple languages, and all you have to do is dial from your landline or your cell phone 211, and you can ask any of the questions. This slide was from last week, so they are answering lots and lots of calls, thousands of calls, and connecting people with the right resources. If you've got a cell phone and you want to get text updates, you can text COVID MA to 888-777. And remember, just because you're practicing social distancing, you can stay up to date, you can stay connected. And we're moving a little bit towards this idea of talking about physical distancing, but social connection, right? We want to make sure that people are connected during this time and they're not missing out on those connections. So again, to get text message updates, this lets you know kind of how the cases are spreading. Yesterday was a particularly hard day, I think, for all of us, because yesterday, April 19th, was the day that we crossed losing 500 people to the coronavirus. And I don't know about for you, but for me, that came with a lot of anger and frustration that we shouldn't have had to lose anyone to something like this. And I'm worried constantly about our healthcare workers, our first responders, all of our essential workers who are keeping everything going, making sure that we have food, that we have our medicine, that we have everything that we need. We got to make sure that we're practicing this social distancing so that they can continue to do their work safely, that they don't get sick, and that we can get back to as normal as we can get back to as quickly as possible. So let's go back to some of these resources. the number one issue that we've heard from folks, and please call us if you're having issues with your unemployment, if you feel like you filled out the form incorrectly, if you feel like you haven't heard back and it's still pending and you're not sure why, please reach out to us. Again, my contact information is on this screen, natalie.higgins@mahouse.gov, 978-227-5278. But this is just going to give you some insight into how bad the numbers have gotten in terms of folks claiming unemployment and how overwhelmed the system is getting. These are new claims. March 14th, kind of before the pandemic really hit, there were 7,400 new claims. A week later, 148,000 new claims. A week after that, 181,000 new claims. So if you're having issues with your unemployment, there is a dedicated COVID-19 unemployment website. Check it out. They probably are answering a lot of your questions. I know some folks have questions about the federal supplemental unemployment, those $600 checks. If your unemployment has gone through and your claim has been processed, you should start seeing that $600 federal supplemental funding this week. For those of you who are self-employed, 1099 workers, gig workers, we're still waiting for some more clear guidance from the federal government. We're pushing the governor to implement this as quickly as possible. The law passed back on March 27th. And the governor has said that he will have the system up for unemployment up on April 30th. We think that is far too long for all of you who have been dealing with worrying about how you're going to pay your bills, how you're going to make it through the system, to just let applications go through on April 30th. Never mind when it's actually going to be processed and you're going to get benefits. We've got to do better for you. But to give you some insight into the spike of unemployment claims, this goes in Massachusetts back through the late 80s. So you can see some of our other recessions. And this is just nothing that our system has dealt with before when you look at these numbers of how many new claims are coming in every week. And so, as I said, the unemployment assistance has a great resource that can help you through all of these issues to make sure that you're walking through your process correctly. They're also doing these great town halls. You can sign up via these links. So, unfortunately, a lot of this is happening on the computer. If you are less familiar with using a computer, you don't have internet access, you don't have a computer at home, please call us at 978-227-5278 if you have an unemployment claim, so we can get someone from the Department of Unemployment Assistance in touch with you to help you navigate your claim. The next biggest thing that we've heard from folks about is food assistance. So if you're getting SNAP, food stamps, or if you think you might qualify now, you can Project Bread's food source hotline at 1-800-645-8333 to help sign up for these services. And they'll also help connect you with local food pantries. In the meantime, we have pulled some of the food pantries that have reached out to us to let us know when they're available. Remember, a lot of these food pantries are asking for us to call ahead so that they can have the food ready, so that there can be as little contact as possible. I know Janice is leaving it outside, so you're calling when you show up, so they'll put it outside for you so that you can go and get it, so that you're not having any contact with their workers. And as of Thursday, as of yesterday, Ginny's Helping Hand was working on making delivery an option for those community members who can't get to them. So these are the hours that are available at some of the Leominster food pantry resources. I know that there are more. I know that a lot of our churches also either have regular hours or starting hours, but Ginny's Helping Hand at 52 Mechanic Street is available Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And you can reach them at 978-537-1387. Catholic Charities of Worcester County, right down the street at 196 Mechanic Street, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Again, please call them ahead of time just so that they can be ready for you. 978-840-0696. The Spanish American Center is opening on Mondays and Fridays from 9 to 12, again by appointment. So they're at 112 Spruce Street, 978-534-3145. St. Leo's Food Pantry, Still Monday nights from 6 to 6:30, Wednesdays from 4 to 5 at 108 Main Street, 978-537-7257. So please, please, please reach out to these folks. If you have other resources, feel free to share them to me, and I'll keep posting them on my social media and getting them out. Growing places. If you're looking for fresh produce and you have SNAP or you have HIP dollars, SNAP is food stamps, HIP is the Healthy Incentives Program, which allows you to purchase fresh produce from our local farmers and really supplement your SNAP funding. They're in Leominster 2 times during the week, Wednesday mornings from 11 to 12:30 at the Leominster Senior Center parking lot, and 3:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon at the corner of Mechanic and Laurel Street in Leominster. But you can see they're all throughout North Central Mass this month. And if you're looking to support your local farmers, Central Mass Grown has this Mass Grown map, which is a really great resource. Just within 10 miles of us in Leominster, there's 63 places, farm stands, farmers markets, dairy farms, CSAs, all of these different places. Pick your own. So being able to support our local farmers, making sure that all of these folks can be there for us when we are through this. The next biggest concern that we have been hearing about is tenants' rights, evictions, issues with worrying about your mortgage. I want to let you know that Community Legal Aid is continuing to provide resources to our community. They have a new office in Fitchburg. It's actually not so new anymore, right downtown. But you can call their intake line. They do intakes Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday in the morning, and Wednesday in the afternoon at 855-252-5342. If you have computer access, you can go right online and apply online at communitylegal.org. And they're also providing a lot of new resources in terms of the new legal areas that they're supporting. But one of the most important things that we have connected people to Community Legal Aid on has been evictions. And so that you know, all current eviction cases are postponed until April 21st or later. We're working on a piece of legislation between the House and the Senate right now that would make this a lot clearer, give protections for folks who are worried about their mortgage, make sure that we're covering kind of all of the housing issues and making sure that everyone has a safe place to stay while they're staying in place around this pandemic. And then the other area that we are definitely working on with a group called MAHASA, the Mass Housing and Shelter Alliance, Ginny's Helping Hand, and Janessa McQuaid from the Leominster Police Department, is our homeless community, right? When you don't have a home, you don't have a safe place to shelter. And so we're working really hard to find some extra state and federal funding so that we can help our homeless community members in Leominster get a safe place to stay for the duration of this crisis and make sure that they can be as healthy as they can in this time. Folks have been asking about PPE, that's that protective gear that our healthcare workers, that our first responders, and a lot of our essential workers desperately need so that they can continue to do their work. If you have any PPE available, any face masks, gloves, please connect with our office or connect with the hospital or any of those groups. Our first responders, the Office of Emergency Management is helping connect a lot of this critical PPE to the right people. If you're a manufacturer in our community, we're really lucky to have so many manufacturers who are working really hard to kind of turn their systems around to be able to produce this really, really vital protective gear to make sure that everyone is safe. And so the state has set up a procurement and donation program for those companies that are able to do that in larger amounts. Also, if you're a healthcare worker and you want to volunteer, especially for folks who are retired, there is a way for you. They've worked under an emergency order to ease up the licensing to allow you to come back and be able to volunteer in your professional capacity. And right after launching the program, 1,000 people had registered. If you need more information about this, feel free to reach out to us. And we know that for a lot of folks, home isn't necessarily the safest place, especially for folks who are experiencing violence in their homes. We're lucky to have some really great organizations that provide local sexual and domestic violence counseling. Also for trauma survivors, this isolation can be really hard. So I'm going to give you some contact information to make sure that you know how to get a hold of the providers in our area if you just need to talk to someone or if you need help with a safety plan. Spanish American Center is still providing domestic violence counseling at 978-534-3145. You can connect with a domestic violence counselor. The YWCA of Central Mass, 508-755-9030. And they also allow chatting. So if you want to chat online, you can go to their website, YWCA of Central Mass. And many of you know that I used to work for our local rape crisis center, Pathways for Change, and they're still available. Their counselors are available 24/7 for anyone who really needs to connect, who's feeling that they need some extra support right now because of their trauma. And you can call, if you're a sexual violence survivor, you can call them at 1-800-870-5905 24/7. And for folks who are just feeling a little lonely and you need someone to talk, the Samaritans are still offering their helpline 24/7. It's free and confidential. You can call and text the helpline at 877-870-4673. Remember, as we're practicing this physical distancing, it's really important that we stay socially connected. So if you need to talk, if you need resources, reach out to the Samaritans. If you need to connect with an agency and you're having trouble locally, reach out to us. You can get us at 978-227-5278, or you can email me at natalie.higgins@mahouse.gov. An issue near and dear to my heart is student loan debt. I have a lot of it. I worked on issues around student loan debt, making college more affordable, more accessible. There are a lot of protections that have been rolled out from the federal government if you have federal student loan debt, which is the bulk of our student loan debt. And not so fun fact, over 800,000 residents of Massachusetts have $35 billion in student loan debt. It is a huge, huge impact on our economy. There's some really great resources locally in Massachusetts. The Institute for Student Loan Advisors has a resource specifically for the COVID-19 crisis, but they offer online counseling to help you navigate any of the issues and help you advocate to your student loan servicers. But for the next 6 months until September, if you have federal student loans, you can put them into deferment if you've been impacted by the coronavirus, if you feel like economically you need to put those on pause. And some of those things that I was really concerned about have been addressed. There's going to be zero interest being accrued at this time, so you're not going to have a penalty for that. And if you qualify for public service loan forgiveness or income-based repayment programs, I take advantage of. Those 6 months are still going to count towards fulfilling that program. So you don't have to worry about choosing one or the other. If you know anyone who has issues with their student loans, who are worried about them, please, please, please send them our way, and we're happy to connect them with resources so they can get good legal advice in terms of how to handle their student loan debt. And we also had folks reach out with a lot of confusion around our early education and family child care programs that were closed as a state of emergency in order to be able to open up space to focus on our frontline workers, our low-income community that are essential workers and don't have access to childcare at home. Currently, over 500 emergency childcare providers have registered with the state. You can connect with them through eeclead.force.com. If you are a childcare provider and you've shut down your program, but you're feeling like you might want to be able to provide some of this emergency childcare assistance, please, please reach out through eeclead.force.com, or if you want to connect, you can give us a call. For those of you who are concerned about your taxes, the tax deadline is being extended to July 15th for personal income taxes. So that's giving you a little bit more time to be able to process kind of how this is impacting you. Because I know I was even late to get my taxes started because this whole pandemic really caught me off guard and just like was overwhelming with all of the contacts that we were getting early on with a lot of the confusion. And we know that a lot of you are still feeling confused and anxious and unsure of what's happening and how this is happening. For our small businesses, we are really working to make sure that the government is stepping up and protecting our small businesses. We know too many of them were forced to close during this time, and that can make it really hard. And the spring is an important time for so many of our businesses. So the federal government set up the Paycheck Protection program to be able to give you loans that could possibly be forgiven if you keep your workers on payroll. And the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan is a program that has already been existed and been around, but it's been opened up during this crisis. So if you have questions, there's lots of great resources online. Check in with your Chamber of Commerce if you're a member, and check in with us and the Congressman's office if you have questions about this. I do know that a number of banks are only working with current customers. So if you don't have if you're a small business who hasn't had a loan at a local bank and you're having trouble finding one, please let us know so that we can solve that for you. Other concerns that we've heard about is the RMV. If your license is set to expire or you need a sticker for your car, remember that the Mass RMV closed most of the branches down. Only 8 are open. Worcester is one of them, and most of this is for required in-person transactions. A lot of them are commercial transactions. A lot of these things have been postponed. So if you're having questions, if you're concerned about the RMV and trying to get some answers, this is a totally a good reason to call us and to reach out to us, because we can get in touch with the RMV and hopefully solve whatever issue you're facing. And I really do want to wrap up talking about the census, and I hope you already completed it. Leominster is doing okay. The state is doing okay. We have more than 50% of our households who have provided their census, have returned their census. But remember, we need to get an accurate count so that we can make sure that we get the resources we need. If they're staying in your house, if they're living in your home, they should be on your census. I know there have been some confusions. If you have a new infant that was born before April 1st, they count in the census. If you have roommates, if your grandparents stay with you, if your family friends are staying with you, living with you, that is their permanent residence right now. And couch surfers, all of those folks count, and we need to make sure that we're getting an accurate count of who's living in our community so we can get the right resources, because this leads to strong schools, public transportation, healthcare funding, senior services, jobs, small business loans. All of these things in this slide are based off of our census count. So it's really important that Leominster gets counted. We're making it fun. A friend of mine, Rep. Jack Patrick Lewis in Framingham, challenged me that more Framingham residents would complete this census than Leominster residents. So far, we're beating him by just a little bit. I won the first round, but I challenged him again to see if Framingham could pull it off in the second round. And we're doing this on social media because we really want to make sure that folks are getting counted, because it matters. And we've got to make sure that we're getting adequate representation. If you need to contact us, I'm just putting this up on the screen. Natalie Higgins at mahouse.gov, natalie.higgins@mahouse.gov, and our phone number 978-227-5278. Things are changing daily. If you have questions, I'm going to stop the share so I can see you, or you can see me. If you have questions, if you have concerns, please do not wait to reach out to us. Shoot me an email, give me a call. I'd rather get your question answered or get you to a good resource. And things are changing every single day. Between yesterday and today, a bill went to the governor's desk to be able to cancel the MCAS testing. I know that that was a major concern of a lot of our families who are being impacted by the school closures. Right now, we have the schools closed until at least May 4th. A major concern was MCAS testing happens in the spring. What was that going to look like? And so this gave more flexibility for the commissioner around graduation requirements, but made it very clear that we are not doing the MCAS test this spring if we're lucky enough to be able to get our kids back into school, get our teachers back into their schools. They're doing the best that they can at home And I just want to thank everyone in the Leominster public school system, our students, our teachers, our administrators, for making sure that our kids are fed, that they have access to technology the best that we can. I know that we're still short, but we're doing everything that we can. And I just want you to know that this is unknown for all of us and really hard for all of us. So do your best that you can, especially for our students. Try to make it through every day. Try to learn something new, but really know that this is an unknown for a lot of us, and no one's experienced something quite like this in our lifetimes. So we're trying to figure out how to safely do that. As for the legislature, we're trying to figure out how to get back into the building safely if we need to. We're trying to figure out how to do remote voting so that we can pass more bold legislation. We're lucky in Massachusetts to have informal sessions so we can pass the bare bones legislation, the stuff that we can all agree on, but that's not enough. And there's a lot of need out there in the community that we want to pass legislation to be able to fix. And it's going to require a vote because we're not going to all be in agreement. So we've got to figure out how to do technology. We were really confronted with the inadequacy of the technology in the State House and our ability to connect from our homes there. There's 160 members right now. It's still not safe for us and irresponsible for us to show up to the building where we could kind of continue to cause an outbreak of COVID-19 with so many of us in close contact. We're trying to figure out how to do this, and in the meantime, we're trying to pass as much as we can as quickly as possible and use every lever that we have to be able to get changes that are going to help make this easier for all of you. So if you have questions, thank you for bearing with me with my little technology show, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next month. I'm hoping to see you in person soon. If you need to get a hold of us, I've said it many, many times, please, please reach out. And I hope you all take care. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon.